Hey guys, welcome to my channel. As you guys all know, there's a very recent tournament, world-class tournament, which is the 2024 World Rapid and Blitz Team Championship, and there's a very outstanding player. It's not Magnus Carlsen or like many other players, for example, like Lan Nepomniachtchi and many others, top grandmasters, but it's actually a player from China who has only 1400 for his FIDE rating. And of course it is Pang Bo. He is from China. I'm from China as well. And in this tournament, in the first in the Rapid Team Championship, he played in total for 11 games and won all of them. So this is like a very outstanding result, and it's actually very shocking because he only has a FIDE rating of 1400, but probably he is much stronger than that. But before we start taking a look at his games, I'm gonna share something about him with you guys. So actually, when I was very young, his chess skills are already like very impressive, and he won like multiple championships in China's like those highest level amateur tournaments. So it's only amateur, not like professional, and earning like significant prize money. So in amateur tournaments, there are rating and title restrictions, which means that if you have if you earn a title or your rating is above the area, then you cannot enter these tournaments. But he never participated in any rated events. He only entered amateur tournaments with prize money. And actually, during a specific time, he had a nickname called the Prize Money Hunter, because he won many tournaments and won a lot of money. But actually, he is just way stronger than others. So this led to some debate among amateur players, because his actual level was probably around 2100 or even higher, while amateur tournaments are supposed to exclude players above 2000. And now he is participating in this world-class tournament, and his performance hasn't surprised many of us in China, because we all know that his skill level is very high, and for players rated below 2000, he is a nightmare opponent, and probably he'll just win against them. So today I want to analyze all of these 11 games that he played during the Rapid Team Championship and see what is outstanding. So actually, I didn't review or actually preview all of these games, so I'm just gonna analyze them right now. Actually, I haven't looked at all of the games, but before we start, I want to share one more thing with you guys. So you can see this page is from Chess Result, and you can see that. So this is his name, Pang Bo, and his FIDE rating is 1400, and then you can see that he had a what's it called? His performance rating is 2600, and he won all the games that he played. So it's a very outstanding result. And he was born in 1998, and actually he is also a very good student. He actually got into our best university in China, so he's just a very outstanding person. So you can see that he won all of his games. Probably his opponents' ratings are not that high, they are not 2300s or even above, but still winning all of them is of course very impressive. Alright, so no more words for that. Let's jump into the first game. Alright, so in the first game of the FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Team Chess Championship, Pang Bo is white, and he started. So his opponent is rated 1643. So let's get started. He started with e4, and his opponent played e5. Knight c3. Actually, Knight f3 is the main line here, but it doesn't matter. And also, so you guys know, this like the tournaments, the rapid tournaments, like time is 15 minutes with 10, like with 10 increment, like 10 seconds each move actually. So actually, I'm not going to like, I'm just going to briefly look at each game because there's 11 games and it will probably take a lot of time to look at each one with detail. So actually, the opening is kind of like a bit strange. It is not that standard or like common. Knight c3 is probably reasonable, but after knight f6, playing f4 doesn't seem like a good opening choice because not many players play like this in the opening. But still, probably it's still fine actually. d5 takes, knight takes c4. This is all fine. After queen f3, so you can see that Pambo is playing actually pretty active in the opening. He probably I don't know, probably he prepared for this opening or he just thought of it during the game. So it's actually very interesting. After takes, this is fine. Knight takes c4, queen f3, knight c6, bishop b5, pinning this knight and the king. Oops. f5. So now his opponent just started to make mistakes. Alright. So we can see that here. After bishop b5, white is kind of like developing much faster than black is. Even though the engine says that here, or the eval bar says black has a slight edge, but I think it's easier for white to play here because it's easier to develop with, for example, knight e2 and then d3, keep this knight away. White is also putting a lot of pressure on the f7 pawn as well as the e4 knight. So it's not that easy for black to play right now. And black played this f5 move, which is actually a bit strange because the more reasonable play would be just to develop or take on c3, for example. After d takes c3, now black will probably, for example, black could give a check on h4 or just simply develop with bishop d7. All of these moves are fine, but f5 is somehow like a bit, I don't know. f5 is somehow like a bit, what's the word, strange. Black should have like developed first and then start to go a bit aggressive, but instead he went f4. Now Pambo played d3, kicking this knight away. After knight takes c3, b takes c3, white is actually just much better here because the d5 pawn, like black is creating weaknesses in his own territory. He hasn't developed any pieces yet, and his king is very like, there are no pawns in front of it. The d5 pawn is kind of weak. f5 is also pretty weak. This light square bishop doesn't have a good place to go to, so white is better here. After b takes c3, bishop e7, logical. After d4, like maintaining a very solid pawn structure in the center. After short castle, knight e2, g5. So we can see that actually black is playing very aggressive here, pushing d5 first and then f5, g5. But actually he has the wrong, his idea is basically just wrong. He should have like developed first, and I don't think attacking on the king side is a good idea because both sides have castled on the king side, and I think after g5 it even weakens black's king, and there's no counterplay basically on the king side for black. So Pambo played h4. He didn't choose to castle. Instead, he just left his king in the center of the board and started to attack on the king side, which is okay. And now the opponent made another mistake with f4. So we can see that in this game, Black's is just having a very hard time to find an idea. And when he had an idea, he started just to push the wrong pawns. And by pushing the pawns, he just cannot develop that fast. So after f4, white took on g5. After bishop g5, knight takes f4, bishop h4 check, g3, bishop back, queen takes d5. So we can basically see that the opponent is now simply like blundering pawns away. He is now down 2 pawns, and probably he'll just lose actually. The opponent is actually, I think this game black played pretty bad because he just, instead of developing, he just pushed all of his pawns and blundered all of them away. Now he just retreated the bishop back to d8 to defend c7 without even developing. So this is actually a pretty reasonable win for Pambo. After knight f4, knight e7, bishop c4 check, king g7, knight h5, and bishop h6. And here black resigned because bishop g7 is on the next move, also attacking this rook. So either black has to lose material or get mated on the next move. And black resigned here. Alright, the first game, Pambo played pretty well. Actually, he had, actually he had an accuracy of 95.9, which is a very accurate game played by him. His opponent didn't play that well. But anyways, let's take a look at the next game. This is the second game. And Pambo is black. His opponent is rated 1845, so a bit higher than the first opponent. And let's just flip the board. Wait a second. Okay. Now, white played b3, c5, bishop b2, knight c6, e3, e5, bishop b5, knight g7. Actually, all of these openings, all of those lines played by them, are kind of strange, really. And I don't think that they are I think these players, they don't put a lot of time in the opening, but rather but instead they study more or put more time into studying middle games and end games, which is also another method to improve your chess. Sometimes you just don't have to focus a lot, all of your time on the opening, because even if you had an advantage in the opening, but if your middle game and end game skills aren't that good enough, then probably you'll still lose the game or won't be able to win it. Alright, so after knight g7, knight e2, g6. So this is all very reasonable. c4, short castle. Okay, this is all fine, I guess. Actually, we can see that Pambo is using a lot of his time here. You can see that this is on the 12th move, and he already used 6 minutes. Alright, so f5, a3, b5, queen c2, h5. We can see that black is going pretty aggressive here, both on the king side and the queen side. And white isn't having a clear idea here. So white went e4, trying to create counterplay in the center. And after bishop, And after bishop d5, taking on d5. Wait a second. I think taking on d5 is not the best move. Okay, h4 is also possible, I guess. Then, for example, the knight moves back, and then probably we'll take on c4, for example. But yeah, I think taking on d5 is also possible, because after e4, bishop takes, pawn takes. Oh, e takes f4. This is actually a mistake. The best move is to go knight d4, of course. There are two pawns supporting the knight on d4, so it's safe to go there. But instead, Pambo played e takes f4, which was a mistake, giving away all of his advantage immediately in just one move. So e takes f4. I think Pambo is just trying to get very aggressive, trying to create counterplay, but this is not the way, because somehow you lose this material, I think, because after bishop g7 played in the game, king takes, d takes c6. Well, actually, this is not the best move, because white can take on either f5 or h5 here, because after takes, now d takes c6, white is white is better here, because black's pawn structure is just completely damaged and the king is very weak here. So if white had played in this way, then he'll probably be better. Alright, so let's go back. So I guess Pambo missed knight h5 idea, but it's still fun. After all this, his opponent missed the idea as well. and played d takes c6, and then f takes g3, queen c3. So probably white should have just taken on f5, I guess. Now after, for example, rook takes f5, and then after takes, if white takes on f5, then we go queen f6, trade off the queens, and then this c6 pawn instead, and black is gonna play on. Alright, so let's go back. So white instead played queen c3. After queen f6, queen g3. Well, he should have taken on f5 again, but queen g3 is also okay, I guess, but he missed queen d4 actually. After king h1 takes c7, we can see that black is now up a pawn, but after c7, this pawn is just going to be completely trapped and will be taken by black. White loses another pawn, and this should be easily winning. Just you have to remember to protect your king from any mating ideas or like long checking ideas by the queen. Like, don't let the queen to always check your king, because that might cause a draw. So defend your king. King h7, h4, e3, very good move. Takes, rook takes f4, c4 goes there, and we have a passer now, which is kind of unstoppable. And after all of this, black will just go and gobble up all of these juicers, and they will be easily winning. This is just a very easy win. And we can see that, yeah, black won after this because he is up 3 pawns and the pawns are about to promote. So this game is also very, played very well by Pambo. Even though he missed a few chances, he missed some, he missed an idea here, because, wait a second. Yeah, I think he missed the idea where white can actually, after it goes there and go there, knight f5 or knight h5 ideas, he missed it, but it's okay. Because it's not a very easy tactic to find. And the opponent missed it as well. So I think the game is very well played. And let's take a look at the next one. Alright, so in this game, Pambo is white, and his opponent is rated 1890, which is higher than the previous 2 opponents. And let's see how this game went. So e4, knight f6, so this is the Alekhine defense. e5, knight d5, c4, c5. Actually, I think Pambo, he really don't study about openings, because in the Alekhine defense there's actually no c5 line here. It's not the best line. Usually we just go d4 knight c3. But again, I think Pambo, even though he doesn't really study openings a lot, but I think his middle game and end game techniques are all very well. So yeah, c5, knight d5, bishop c4, e6, d4, d6, takes. Okay, this is all fine, I think. Knight b6, bishop d3. Nothing weird is happening here. Although, white just has a very good advantage here, great advantage here, I think. Because somehow you can just take a look at black's side, and it feels a bit strange. All of the pieces are kind of scramped in the corner, in the back rank and everything. And I think white has bigger space in the center than black does. Bishop d4. I think black just missed a tactic here. Yeah, knight g5. Excellent found by Pambo. Instead, black should have played for something like e5, which is actually the only move that still probably equalizes the position a bit. So after e5, probably white will just take, and after d takes e5, this position is just, white is of course still better because this e5 pawn is a big weakness, and white is easier like White's pieces are easier to develop. This f6 bishop is a very big, like a very passive piece. Actually, it can only defend. So I think White is doing very good here. All right. So after knight e4, taking on d5, knight g5, an excellent move. Knight g5, h6, because knight g5 we are threatening to take on h7. At the same time, also take on d4 because after takes there's this discovered attack, and then queen will take the knight. So after h6, bishop h7, king h8, knight d4. Actually, well, this is a mistake, really. Well, yeah, probably because after takes, well, as played in the game, after takes, there is h takes g5, and probably the position is close to equal now because White doesn't really, like, White's actually down a pawn here. So the better option here is to go knight h4, threatening knight g6 ideas, which is more deadly. Because now after h6, g5, queen h5 is the idea, because now you cannot take on h4 because bishop g6, and this will be mate. And if White plays, like, Black, basically it's just gonna get mated here. Alright, so let's go back here. White should have played knight h4 instead, but he took on d4, which is not losing, of course. White is still better, and after takes, h6, g5, bishop d3. Even though Black is up a pawn, but we can see that his king is very weak, and his pawns are also very weak as well. His pawn structures are basically damaged, and the king is very weak. So after e5, queen e3, threatening the g5 pawn, g4, queen g3, knight d5, bishop e2, attacking this pawn, queen f6, takes. Well, yeah, I think before this rook a d8 move, the position is just close to equal probably. Black is still a bit better here, I think, because this knight is better than the bishop. Or probably just the equal position. But yeah, the opponent just blundered here completely with rook a d8 missing, bishop g5 completely, and this is just winning actually. So actually, Pombo got really lucky here, because if his opponent didn't blunder and play instead, for example, rook a c8, then probably the game will still go on, and White won't be winning that easily. Probably still the opponent can trick White. So yeah, but this is just a complete disaster after rook a d8, a big blunder. After bishop g5 and wait a second, yeah, White is just now up a rook and everything is just simply winning. And after all of this, White is just winning. So yeah, actually these are the 3 games that I want to show you guys. They are played by Pombo. And actually there are 8 more games, but that's a lot, and I think it's not enough for me to like analyze each game in only one video. So I think I'll just analyze 3 games played by Pombo. But in all, you can now see how outstanding he is in this 2024 FIDE World Rapid Team Chess Championship. He played really well. He won all of the games, and we can see that even though his FIDE rating said he is only rated 1400, but inside he is a very strong player. Alright, anyways, hope you find my videos good, and hope you like my videos. Please subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye!